Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be talking about if the Washington football team should sign former Cowboys linebacker Jaylen Smith, and I'll talk about his possible fit in Washington, and then also I'll give you guys a full injury update from today. We got a lot of players on the injury report, and I'll also talk about the Washington football team placing tight end Logan Thomas on IR, and they also signed a tight end to the 53-man roster. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content. Also hit that like button and turn on those notifications, and also check out WinView and use the link in the description. They got a bunch of nice contests that you can win some money, so make sure you guys go check that out. So Adam Schefter dropped some big news last night. He tweeted, "In-season surprise, the Cowboys released linebacker Jaylen Smith per source." So that's some big news because no one expected him to be released in the middle of the season. Some people expected him to be released, in the off season, but they weren't able to do that, and they were trying to shop him, but no one was interested. So of course they released him, and as I'm recording right now, no one has signed him. And if it is the case that when you're watching he has been signed, just skip a few minutes to the injury update because it is very important. But in today's video, we're going to be talking about if Washington should try to sign linebacker Jaylen Smith. I mean, heading into the season, our linebacking core was already pretty weak, and the first 4 weeks they were not good at all. John Bostic was terrible for us. Really bad in pass coverage, not too great in the run game, and they didn't use him much in blitzes like they did in the beginning of last year. He really struggled. He was a liability. Cole Holcomb has been okay. He had a really good game this past weekend against the Falcons, but he was a little bit underwhelming to start off the year. And Jamin Davis is growing, but he's not there yet. He's not where you want him to be yet. It's going to take a while for him to be able to play like a good NFL linebacker. Maybe it'll happen by the end of the season, but it's to be expected. He's a project, he's raw, and I think he will get there, but at the moment, it's just he's not there yet. And then also Bostic just got injured, so he wasn't great, but you still have to fill that hole somehow. Some people might say, Khaleke Hudson can go in there, and some people might say go sign Jaylen Smith and go sign another veteran. There's some other guys out there, maybe Michael Kendricks, and I'm kind of like, there is not much of a downside to signing someone like Jaylen Smith, who has had really good NFL seasons before, and he is hobbled a little bit by injuries, and you have to take it with a grain of salt. PFF has him as the 13th linebacker out of 13th linebacker in the NFL out of all linebackers. 13th. Again, you have to take it with a grain of salt, but even Cowboys fans, some of them are saying he's played okay this year. Not amazing, but okay, and okay for a linebacker is much better than what we've had so far this year at our at linebacker, especially if he comes in and he's able to replace Bostic. I think that will be a decent upgrade over someone like John Bostic. You look at his, grades, has a 69.5 overall grade. Again, anything over a 65 or even a 60 in PFF is pretty good. Has an 82.2 coverage grade, which John Bostic was not good at all at. And then his run defense is a 37 and pass rush is a 51. So, I mean, he, in my opinion, he's definitely not as good as he was a couple years ago, or of course before he injured himself in his final game at Notre Dame. But I still think it's, if you go ahead and sign him, it's not going to be any big money. It's going to be very, minimal amount of money. At least I believe. I don't think we're going to have to pay his contract from before. And, it's a low-risk, possible high-reward signing. And those are the signings you want to make in the National Football League. Very, very low risk. If he doesn't play well and he doesn't pan out, one, you can just move on from him. You can cut him because it's not going to be much money. Or, you just don't play him because it's going to be very unlikely that Jaylen Smith is worse than what John Bostic has been so far this season and last year, because John Bostic has been a liability and Jaylen Smith like I said, might not be what he was once before, but he's definitely better than what we have in John Bostic. And you could, if you wanted to, some people just don't want to sign Jaylen Smith because they think he's washed, and that might be the case. But I think there's no harm in, giving him the chance to show what he can do. And also, he might be a little bit extra motivated against the Cowboys, and we still haven't played them. We're going to play them twice in the final games of the season. So I think it would be a solid move to make. You're not going to be paying much, and it's a low risk, high reward signing. And Rivera said yesterday that Washington would be looking for linebacker help. So, I don't know why you wouldn't go ahead and sign him. Or at least there's some other linebackers as well that I've been saying they should sign. Jamie Collins already got signed, but Bernardrick McKinney, and I forgot the linebacker that the Rams released this offseason, but he's another guy that they could sign. But they need a veteran. You can still give Khaleke Hudson playing time, but you need another veteran in there because right now your top three linebackers are Jamin Davis, Cole Holcomb, and Khaleke Hudson. Cole Holcomb has a lot of experience at linebacker, or at least 3 years or 2.5 years. Not even 2.5, but over 2 years of experience at linebacker in the National Football League. Jamin Davis, this is his rookie year, and Khaleke Hudson was a special teamer all of last year, played a couple games as a linebacker, and this year he hasn't played I don't even know if he's played a defensive snap, so he might have played a few, so that would be a very, very inexperienced linebacking core, so I think they should go out and at least sign someone. You look at Jaylen Smith's stats this year. He hasn't played that many snaps, and also they've only played 4 games, but he has 17 tackles, 12 solo tackles. 2020 had 150 tackles, 1.5 sacks, and an interception. And that interception, of course, was against Washington on Thanksgiving when Alex Smith dumped it off right to him, and Terry made that great tackle. And he was really good in 2018 to 2019. Still was good last year, but lost a step a little bit and wasn't as good as he once was, especially in 2018 and 2019, where he might have made the Pro Bowl once or twice. But he doesn't get that many interceptions, but he has 9 career sacks and he has 6 career forced fumbles as well. So I would roll the dice and try to go ahead and sign Jaylen Smith because it is a low risk, high reward type of signing, and I think Washington should go ahead and sign him. So now let's get into the massive injury update and also talk about Logan Thomas being placed on IR and the tight end that they signed. Okay, so the Washington football team placed Logan Thomas on IR and they signed tight end Jace Sternberger off of the Seahawks practice squad. So unfortunate news for Logan Thomas, and Ian Rappaport said he's out for at least 4 weeks. I thought IR was 3 weeks, but maybe I am wrong and there's something where if you do it after the start of the week, maybe it takes 4 weeks, but nonetheless, he's going to be out for at least 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks if this tweet is right. And that's really a big blow to Washington because there's a big drop-off between Logan Thomas and Ricky Seals-Jones. And, Logan Thomas had a great year last year, and it's unfortunate that he had that hamstring early on in that Falcons game. We're lucky, though, that it's not anything more serious than that, and he should be good to go once he comes back, or, after those 3 to 4 weeks are up. As long, he has to be cautious with it because it is a hamstring injury, but I think he will be back relatively soon in time for, once we get started, a couple weeks before the NFC East matchups where we play the Eagles twice, the Cowboys twice, and the Giants once. He should be back well before then. And, we signed Jace Sternberger, who, was drafted by the Packers, the Green Bay Packers. Funny, he was actually drafted 1 pick before Terry McLaurin in 2019, so super young, super talented, 24 years old, and last year didn't do really anything at all in his rookie year. 6 games, 1 start, 1 target. That's really it. Last year, though, played in 12 games, got targeted 15 times, came up with 12 catches, 114 yards, and 1 touchdown. So he wasn't bad last year, just nothing special. So, maybe we can help get his career on the right tracked. I mean, Pete Hainer has done a really good job developing these tight ends, and maybe he can do it with Jace Sternberger. So I'm excited to see what he can do. I don't know how much he's going to be playing early on or if he's going to be active. I mean, Ron Rivera talked about Sammis Reyes being active, so it might be the case where Sammis Reyes is active this week, and depending on how he does, it'll dictate who's active next week as the third tight end. If Sammis Reyes plays okay, then maybe they'll keep him as a tight end the next week. But if he doesn't, they'll have Jay Sternberger as the next man up. So that is something to keep in mind. Unfortunate that Logan Thomas is hurt because he's one of the better tight ends in the NFL, was having a solid season so far besides that fumble against the Bills. But I think he's going to be back once those 3 to 4 weeks are up, and he'll be, continue to dominate. So the injury report. This is a very lengthy injury report. Let's go through it right here. These are all the DNPs: Dyami Brown, Antonio Gibson, Cole Holcomb, Curtis Samuel, Brandon Sheriff, Cam Sims, and of course Logan Thomas, and then Jonathan Allen, DeShazier Everett, Matt Ioannidis, J.D. McKissick, James Smith-Williams, and Benjamin St-Juste were all limited. I don't think I've ever seen an injury report this long. It's absolutely insane compared to last week or the week before, where we only had one player on the injury list. So here's my thoughts on this. Some of them, obviously, I'm concerned with. I mean, we know Logan Thomas and Brandon Sheriff aren't going to play this week, but the thing with me is there were reports that, I mean, obviously it was, pretty misty out there, pretty rainy, and there were reports from the, reporters that it was pretty wet out there. So I think Ron Rivera was being a little bit cautious with some of these guys, especially someone like Curtis Samuel, who has that groin injury. So I think that could be the case where he wants to be cautious with these guys, especially Antonio Gibson, Dyami Brown, all these guys. That's my take. It still could be a serious issue. I'm not sure if Curtis Samuel re-injured his groin or if they just didn't want him to go out there and risk re-injuring it in a wet environment when he really doesn't need to. I'm not too concerned with Gibson because, he was a DNP at some point last week with the shin injury, played through it. I would be concerned if it was, DNP because of the ribs because he got hurt when, Taylor Heineke threw it to him on a check down, but I'm not too concerned with him. And we'll see with Holcomb. Again, it could be something where it's because of the weather. Tomorrow's injury report will be really, really telling. If all these guys right here are still on the DNP, that will be very, very concerning, especially someone like Curtis Samuel, as long as the weather is good tomorrow. The guys on the limited list, not too worried. Matt Ioannidis played through it. He is limited and he should be good to go. Same thing with hopefully Jonathan Allen, DeShazier Everett, and the rest of the guys. And good to see Benjamin St-Juste on the limited list. First day back of practice, so he's on the limited list. I don't think they want to rush him back from that concussion, and he should be good to go for this game. And that's, huge because our cornerback depth is not good now with, Torrey McTyer getting injured. So let's see what he can do this week. But the injuries, the injury report is very, very lengthy, but I wouldn't get too concerned until we see tomorrow how this looks. If this injury report is still this long with, those players all in the DNP list, then I would be very concerned for those guys' chances of playing on Sunday. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. And check out WinView, and peace.